Another polished performance from the defending champions. They are looking ominous. They are batting well, they're bowling well, they are fielding well. I mean, the catches yesterday by Pollard and Anukul Roy just add to the overall performance of the Mumbai Indians. And Rajasthan Royals, they have some worries. We'll talk about the match that took place yesterday and, of course, build up towards the match between KKR and CSK. Old rivals. CSK has had the better of KKR more often than not, but Karthik and his team would want to get back on track soon with a win today. We'll talk about all of that. My name is Arnab Sen, and I'm joined by my colleague Rasesh Mandani. Rasesh, happy days for Mumbai. I mean, the defending champions, look, they're ticking all the boxes, and another impactful performance yesterday.
Yes, they are catching up with Delhi Capitals, a bit of a cat and mouse, not just in terms of points table, but also in terms of which team has got the better balance. Both these teams looking as a standout team so far, and you're right, a clinical performance by Mumbai Indians. They would also be encouraged, they would be happy with the fact that they could pull together all those runs at the death, minus even needing Kieron Pollard. So, Suryakumar Yadav showing a facet of his game which was known, but now to pull it off at this level, in this sort of a performance. So tick mark by his name as well, and in another asset on the Mumbai Indians ranks. So and then for the bowlers to sort of follow up on that, for the fast bowlers to come together. Mumbai Indians employing this strategy of finally giving Jasprit Bumrah the new ball, and he was effective. So all-round performance by the defending champions.
Yes, let's talk. Let's talk one by one about the positives. Suryakumar Yadav is somebody who was very highly rated in KKR as well when he used to play for them. And I remember a season where he did well while opening the batting. But yesterday, 79 unbeaten runs, his best performance ever in IPL, coming in 40-odd deliveries. But the courage that he showed against the pace of Jofra Archer after getting hit on the head, playing that ramp shot, and getting those shots away, knowing that there are other batsmen who can do that job, but taking the responsibility. When Hardik Pandya was interviewed after Mumbai's innings, he mentioned that, it's about everybody playing their roles, and someone or the other is putting their hand up on one of the matches and getting the job done. And that is the reason why Mumbai are getting to such a total. If you see the previous match, nobody really scored a half century, but everybody chipped in. And that is really scary for the other teams who will now face Mumbai Indians.
Yes, you're right. It takes a bit of courage to be able to play such that kind of a shot, and that sort of separates you from the rest. And he would have felt dizzy. I mean, it's just natural when a bowler of that pace hits you flush on the helmet, and then for him to have the courage to play that sort of a stroke, it's risky stroke as well. It's a risky stroke literally, because if you get it wrong, then it's gonna hit you. So obviously there would be sort of a loads of practice that goes behind perfecting those shots. He would have done it, but then after being hit, to pull together that sort of a stroke, like I said, it was a brave one, and he kept looking at those areas behind the wickets, the other V, as we call it. And that's a bit of a find as well in some ways, not just for Mumbai Indians. The Indian selectors should be watching as well. Because India has a lot of batsmen, top order batsmen who play correctly, who take those bit of risks, but in front of the wicket, Suryakumar Yadav, is someone who's got the range as well. So he batted a bit differently when he started off, and then towards the death overs, bringing that other facet of his game out for sure.
Yes, let's talk a little bit about the bowling. Jasprit Bumrah, 4 for 20. Again, his best ever performance in the IPL. Doing really well with the new ball. Perhaps Mumbai now know where to use Bumrah, but the other two as well. Giving away runs only in the 20s. Pattinson and Bolt picking up 2 wickets each. This is looking like a unit, well-oiled unit now. Rohit Sharma said in the post-match conference that before coming to UAE, thinking about the heat, thinking about the spin-friendly and slow tracks, they were a little worried about the pace battery that they have. But now, with the wickets assisting pace bowlers, what a great arsenal to have at your disposal for Rohit Sharma. I mean, Trent Bolt, Jasprit Bumrah, Pattinson, and then they were showing, the host broadcaster was showing shots of Nathan Coulter-Nile going full tilt in training as well. So world-class bowlers at their disposal, making up more than making up perhaps for the lack that they have in the spin department.
Yeah, look, they've identified Rajasthan Royals, weakness. They could have, they basically identified that they could seal the match if they, won the opening power play, and they did exactly that. All the three fast bowlers that he spoke about, Patterson, Bumrah, and Bolt,
Bolt.
coming in, getting those early wickets, and then Buttler played some great strokes, which we know he can. But by that time the match was already sealed. I mean, you can't single-handedly win these matches when you're sort of chasing 200. So terrific performance by the Mumbai Indians pace battery in context of the match as well. And of course, looking ahead, they'd be happy that all their fast bowlers are sort of hitting the straps and hitting the right areas.
Right. I want to ask you something about Kyron Pollard. I mean, the entire frame, the amount of weight perhaps he has is huge. He pretty much looks like a slightly slimmer version of Cornwall, if I may say so. But when he moves with that catch yesterday, the flexibility, even while batting, when he has to dig low, dig those yorkers and go low, or while bowling, while fielding, I mean, how does he manage to do that with all that weight on him?
Yeah, you just need the great, the ideal reflexes. It's not so much about the frame, and Pollard is a case in point. In fact, he's always been a great fielder.
Yes.
And this whole concept about fielding in this format changes because it's not how much you can dive around in the circle. It is about the reach that you have in the outfield, and that has always been Pollard's strength. I mean, he's pulled off some sensational catches over the years in IPL. We've seen it time and time again. And again, yesterday's was a great example. In fact, he's one of the key fielders for Mumbai Indians because he mans that outfield long on, long off, all those deep areas so well.
Right, and that catch by Anukul Roy also. Even the substitutes chipping in for Mumbai Indians. So things looking good for the defending champions. They now sit pretty on top of the points table. The onus is now on the likes of DC, RCB, and the others to perhaps chase them down. All right, looking forward to the match that is coming up. Kolkata Knight Riders against Chennai Super Kings. Chennai Super Kings are back in form. We'll talk about all of that in our first segment, the battle. Uh, we don't really expect any changes from Mahendra Singh Dhoni. He doesn't make changes when the team is losing. Why make changes when the team is just won by 10 wickets?
Yeah, but we can talk all the same of a possible change that they can make. And I think one they might want to consider is whether they can bring in someone like an Ngidi or a Hazelwood just to counter Andre Russell. But whether they will actually exercise that option, look, it gets a bit tricky because A, you don't want to change the winning combination, and B, because Shardul Thakur and the other Indian seamer that they have had a good day at the park.
Chahal.
Yes, so that's right, Deepak Chahar. And the only way you can draft in overseas fast bowler is if you rest Dwayne Bravo. So then,
yes.
yeah, so then that would sort of affect their combination as well. So unlikely that they'll ring in a change. But again, that battle with Russell and Owen Morgan, and how Chennai Super Kings bowling attack can handle some of these attacking options that KKR have, may become a very crucial part of this match.
Also, I think in terms of handling Sam Curran, I think CSK needs to be a little more open about perhaps sending him up the order. They did that in the first match against Mumbai Indians, and they reaped the benefits out of it. But Curran is most effective when you give him a certain number of balls, and I think they should exercise that because Dhoni doesn't look in the kind of touch that we know that he is capable of. Perhaps Curran batting at 4 because he looks like a proper batsman. I remember the entire England Test series that India played in 2018, and this boy alone batted India out of the match in the Test matches. So he's a quality batsman, and I think if they use him like a proper all-rounder, that will serve CSK better.
Yeah, I think they will be open to that. I mean, it will be surprising if they don't exercise that option. You also provide that left-handed option as well, so that can unsettle the bowling. And also considering the fact that not just Dhoni, even someone like Kedar Jadhav hasn't got too many runs, so they will also gradually look to get him back in form. But till such time that he gets going, Curran is certainly looking in a lot better touch than the other options that they have. Even Jadeja, if you just look at the fluency, and compare the two, perhaps you'd want to bet more on Sam Curran. So Sam Curran up the order, most definitely an option.
All right, let's bite the bullet and ask this very important question, because there's already a campaign going on social media from the KKR fans. I'm sure the KKR think tank knew what they were doing when they were making Dinesh Karthik the captain. He's done decently well in the 2 seasons. But is he a liability for the team right now? See, if you look at the possible combinations that they can have, Sunil Narendra is not working as an opener. bring in Tom Banton. He gives you the additional wicket keepers position. I mean, he can bat at the top of the order and, of course, keep wickets. Take Karthik out of the equation. Give Morgan the captaincy and play Tripathi or play an additional spinner in Kuldeep Yadav. I mean, that's quite possible. And perhaps, if you look deeply, Brendan McCullum would know far more than us that that is a much better and much stronger team than they have right now. So why not exercise that thing? I mean, it should be team first over individuals.
Look, even one looks at Karthik's position dispassionately. Perhaps the best position that he can add value to the team is batting at something like number 6 or 7.
Right.
So Karthik will have to sort of, put his ego aside and recognize that Morgan should bat ahead of him. Depending upon match situations, Russell should bat ahead of him. He should come in and try and pull off performances like he did at the Nidas Trophy. He's got those, he's got that ability to play those unconventional shots himself. So that's perhaps where he can be, where he would be an ideal foil to the rest of the batting order. That we'll wait and see if they can actually do that. But whether they will consider stripping him off the captaincy, I don't know. If it was another side, if it was a Kings 11 Punjab, Rajasthan Royals, they are ruthless with that. KKR is someone who believes in team building a lot. For it's a big call you make because you suddenly change a leader. The whole message to the team can change. So it's a tough call. They probably won't take it this early in the tournament. But again, KKR is a team which hasn't shied away from dropping someone like a Kuldeep Yadav from the playing 11 as well. So it depends. I mean, if Karthik can't come through this poor run of scores, then it is going to be a sort of situation which most definitely will be considered in the think tank. Not so early, I think.
But they need to intervene now because, a slew of defeats and suddenly you find yourself needing to win, say, 6 out of the remaining 8 matches to qualify. And KKR definitely don't want to be in that position. Sunil Narine is somebody who's not performing. 27 runs in 4 or 5 matches, just two wickets. I mean, he's not contributing with the ball. Also, 8.5 is his economy. So he's not the same bowler. He's definitely Shubman Gill, for God's sake, deserves a better opening partner. I mean, Nitish Rana also getting those starts, but then not scoring big. So all the pressure then falls on Morgan and Russell to get the runs. I mean, you really want a good opening man. And Tom Banton is somebody who's shown in the BBL that he can actually take the attack to the opposition. That allows someone like a Shubman Gill to play a role which perhaps Rohit Sharma plays for Mumbai Indians. So definitely the time has come, if not to look beyond Karthik, but to exercise that choice that they have of bringing in Banton in place of Sunil Narine and perhaps drop one of the two youngsters between Nagarkoti and Mavi and get in Kuldeep as the second spinner.
Yeah, look, Sunil Narine, when he was promoted, he was a pinch hitting option. It worked for a season, it worked for the second season. But now, clearly, opposition camps know that he attacks the spinners. They are sort of they're not bowling the spinners to him, and he's not able to come through the fast bowlers. The advantage he had in the previous season, he had someone like a Chris Lynn at the other end, so he would take on the fast bowlers, and that would sort of help them forge this ideal batting combination. That is not happening. We're not saying Shubman Gill cannot play fast bowling, but he obviously does not use the kind of risk and the attacking range that Chris Lynn does. So this is clearly not working. Who can replace Narine at the top of the order? Perhaps Rahul Tripathi, perhaps Nitish Rana, one of those two. So that becomes more of a conventional opening batting pair that you will have. But perhaps it's going to add more value to the team than someone like a Sunil Narine, who's clearly struggling with the movement to get the ball out of the circle.
Do you agree with the Tom Banton option or not?
Yeah, most definitely. It's an option which it's a serious option that they might want to consider. And look, this is a team which is open to such ideas. So they might well want to bring in that change in today's match, depending upon match situation, their assessment of the opposition.
Yes, because it's been quite a while that KKR has won. I mean, last season they couldn't even qualify for the playoffs. They took the hard decision of parting ways with Gautam Gambhir. They've taken the hard decision of parting ways with somebody like Saurav Ganguly at the risk of antagonizing fans. So why not now? Because Dinesh Karthik is, in any book is not that big a star who cannot be dropped. So for the team's sake and for the fans' sake, perhaps this should be done. A word about the other overseas players that they have. Cummins, he's bowled those spells where he's kept the batsman quiet, but then he's not picking up wickets. He's not giving you those 3-4 wickets which we expected from him, and that is hurting Kolkata.
Yes, but they've got a bit of variety. I mean, look, Cummins says obviously he got a lot of impressive money in the auction because of the dynamics of the auction. Cummins is not someone who's going to give you those accurate three Yorkers all the time. He's not your outstanding death bowler. He's a quality performer. He's an all format bowler. So you sort of they will have to reconcile to the kind of returns that they can expect out of the Cummins. But they got the other Indian fast bowlers who are skillful, accurate, improving every day. And the good thing with KKR is they can very well afford not to have a bowler complete his entire quota because they got so many options around them. So they are doing all right as far as their bowling options go. Batting is clearly the sort of the muddled thinking in the batting combination is more of a bigger worry for the KKR camp right now.
Right. Quickly move on to trump card now, and you have picked Russell. Are Kolkata utilizing Russell properly? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think Dinesh Karthik made the point that despite the fact that Russell didn't work in the previous match, they are looking to continue with this ploy of giving him a few more overs. So he doesn't necessarily have to come in at number 4 all the time. But if they've got enough runs, and then the case of promoting him up the order should always be considered. 12 over mark is generally this mark that most teams look at. That is when Dhoni looks to enter the crease most of the time. So that is perhaps the mark where they should be looking to introduce Andre Russell, obviously provided they don't lose too many early wickets. In fact, I was tempted to go in with the Shubman Gill as well as the trump card as well, because this is not Sharjah, so we don't necessarily expect a tall scoring total. It will be difficult to get runs. It's getting more and more difficult every day. Don't be surprised if either of the two teams again look to bat first and go the more traditional way. So who knows? Gill. This might be an ideal situation for Gill, but Russell is just so destructive. I mean, he and Pollard are two of the most destructive batsmen around that you get tempted to see. That once they get going, if they get the range going, they can take the match away. And he's had a good track record against CSK.
Right. I went with Shubman Gill because because of the kind of quality that he brings in, and you need a little bit of quality to tackle the CSK bowling attack. Mind you, just one game where they managed to get the better of the opposition CSK in terms of their batting clicking. So who knows? I mean, Shubman forms a good foundation for KKR, and then Russell and Morgan give them a score in excess of 170 if they bat first, and CSK might find it difficult to chase because all said and done, KKR do have a lot of variety in their bowling. All right, then we will review this match. We'll see how this goes, and of course, talk about the match that is coming up tomorrow in tomorrow's Battleground T20. Thank you very much for watching.